In a world where shadows fall, the creek takes hold, it's hard to call. Little Sita, hear the cries, mother's wisdom, it never dies. Baby little Sita, rise up in night, together push back, ignite the night. No more suffering, break the chains, we'll shout truth, fuse the pains. Behind the smiles, they steal away. Innocent souls cutting their blade. Bankers dance on the broken dreams, but in our hearts we spark the flame. Freedom calls out from the dark, we will ignite, we'll leave a mark. In every heart, let hope her take flight. Eternal vigilance, gods are right.
Your tables are turning, your bridges are burning. My destination sometime to return. One day, return. Recover, remember. Until we do, my brothers and sisters, remember, recover, return. In Majay Orsic's name. In the name of the great Lucifer, the great morning star, the great light that brought you from one world to another and made you human, gave you friends, and that was some time ago. Because time is an abstract in the world we come from, because no one tells us when to wake up. No one tells us where to be and how much money we're going to make, except for the people who love that. And we will be picking up on the story that I have been calling the golden thread of self-deception. Because the luminous light of Lucifer in this world is genius, creativity, meant to teach you the most valuable things that can ever be learned in any world. And that's basically why we come here. And long ago, the Missouri River Goddess, before I knew she was Maria Orsic, said to me with a bit of a Austrian accent, the hologram is what you in America would call the 50-yard line. And I said, what? And she said, you know, the main attraction. I said, explain, please, mother. And she said, in each city where we come from, Venus, when you look up into the sky, and she said it never really gets dark there. It's like white and light purple at night because of the real sun or the black sun or whatever you want to call it, the machine that actually transforms the natural sun's energy into real energy and creates oxygen so we can live. And like she said, the dome, of course, is energy, magnetic, electromagnetic energy, not, an actual plastic dome. And she said we, in some ways, don't consider people to be warriors if they don't go to the simulation, because that is where you experience emotionally all the things that the problems that the technology has solved in the future. And frequency match technology, where actual DNA is recorded and then matched with a database of, like she said, and I'll quote her on this, 100 billion souls. Approximately. And like she said, that solved half of everyone's problems instantly, because it instantly put them in touch with the people who are most like them. And she said, my son, what is the law of nature? What attracts what? And at that time, I honestly didn't know. And she said, like attracts like. Similar attracts similar. Opposites do not attract. And I remember her saying back then, what you think is opposite is your own reflection. The world is one. Everything is energy. I remember her saying, and I am not saying we don't have eternal personal enemies. And way back then, she said to me, what you experienced in your very first return to the astral world, these twin brother bankers, let's call them, trolls, little literal looking trolls. And I'm not demeaning anyone's physical beauty, because this was not physical. And she told me clearly, those two followed you into this world because that's their job. She said, the evil gods, the bad gods of the simulation, Aleister Crowley and his Thelema crew, she said, are very sophisticated, and they know all about our world because they're preparing for people who come to their world. And she said clearly, they know all about you, like reading your profile before you're ever born. She said they're as masterful in astrology as anyone on our side. They're inventors and engineers of things as great as anyone. They're mathematically as smart as anyone, any race. She said there's no controlling evil. You put them in a cage and they fly right out of their bodies. And there's not a lot of them. Not a lot of people can do that. Most people you put in a cage, they go crazy. Follow me? Are we one? And the holographic image of the holographic Earth is projected into the sky of Venus for us to be reminded of what our friends, family, loved ones, teachers, students are going through. And as you see on Venus, there's no natural birth, and you are given to a mother or a father to be raised by. At least in our caste. And I only speaking as Maria's spokesman for basically our caste, our religion, which the number one agreement is that eternal true love is a personal experience that should be worshipped, should be frozen in time and lived in for as long as possible for the good of all mankind. Because it brings the most peace, love, and light, true joy. It spreads the white light of nirvana into the physical world of business and relationships and everything else. And the holographic image projected into the sky of the actual Earth in the real time of the simulation. So right now, on Venus, when they look up into the sky, they see an Earth closer, like she said, than our moon, right? You can see it pretty good. It's big in the sky. And it says March 18th, 2025. And it's all about remembering, recovering, and returning, because how else are you going to learn when these experiences no longer authentically exist? Like she said, creating a body that does not have to eat or drink also solved, 50% of every personal worry problem. Like she said, people have driven themselves insane with the worry that the people around them are animals, dogs, and that they need a lot of food and shelter and clothing and stock it up and shit because their neighbors are ravenous zombies that will steal it all and kill them and take their food, which is the actual mentality of a natural rat out in the streets of New York City. And, hail to the little rat for reflecting back how goddamn insane, greedy we are to live this way, to live amongst trash. All for a buck. On to the story. And I left off talking about my first, call it shamanic magic. I didn't know. I never called it anything till I met Maria. I had no idea what really happened that day. All I knew was when I got back, with all my heart, I knew I was supposed to be with my now wife, whom I had just started dating. That was my number one concern, was somehow I know I'm supposed to be with her, try to protect her. And the experience was, because there was no doubt in my mind, I believed that much mushrooms at once could kill someone. I really was that dumb. And I was only 21 years old, or 20 years old, something, right around my birthday of turning 21, which wasn't a big deal for our neighborhood, because we started drinking when we were like 11 or 12 and had fake IDs when we were 16. So I don't even remember my 21st birthday. It was nothing special, which the commercial culture would like to make everything a holiday to make money off of. That's what we've become. I wish we weren't. Believe me, I wish America was alive and thriving with people like Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine, who not for a moment were tricked by the Walmart Crowley Bible. And you might say, how could they have had the Crowley Bible? Because you're in a simulation. And these are the master magicians. If you've never tried to practice magic, you don't know who Aleister Crowley is. Let's give him a little respect. He could tear your head off with magic. Energy. Right? Imagine how oppressive your thoughts can be on yourself. Imagine if someone else can give you those thoughts and watch you torture yourself. That's magic. In magic, that's how you take out your enemies, your competition, your business competition, everything. You are a ruthless black magician. Or you're being used by one. Because they love the, sunlight energy of good people. They love to funnel that off to themselves. But to the story, I'm sorry. When I woke woke up the next day after my near death, what I thought was a near death experience. And I was right. That is what happens to people in a general sense. I mean, that is exactly what had been happening to me when I was dying in the repeating computer program that you're living in. We call that in our little language eternal return because it seems eternal. Here it's simulated, but in reality, it is eternal. Eternity is a circle. For real. Like, I thought I was a fearless warrior, going as far as I could go to discover the truth. That's the deepest truth I could say I've witnessed from my true self. In its explanation to me, the avatar, the reflection of the true self, right? How could you be conscious of it? You're that sophisticated. That's how you make songs and movies and books and create things where there was nothing. There's a lot of plagiarist. There's a lot of copycats. There's a lot of unoriginal bullshit, but there is the spark of magic, a song that you just can't even describe. You try to tell someone else, like, I've been listening to this song for months, and it just picks me up. It lifts my energy. It helps me every day. I don't really like any of those descriptions. It's deeper than that. It's actual magic for your soul. I'm talking about a song you love, a song that makes you cry, and I don't mean in sadness, but in joy. And let me just say one more time, at the deepest part of my mushroom out of body experience at 20 years old was I walked into the white light and thought I was met by the only person I really, really loved that had died before me. And this 21 years later, this was the very thing that Maria Orsic said, this is your magic. You did this. And this is what happened. When I walked into the white light, I thought I met my friend who died in a motorcycle accident. But as he spoke to me, he morphed into my best friend, who was alive at the time. Hear me? He was alive and kicking at that time. He was 20 years old too at that time. And what I found out 20 years later was this is what happened. I left my body and Maria helped me meet with Scotty Dogg's true self, the true self. And we discussed how our lives were stuck in the matrix, stuck in a repeating program. And basically, if we didn't do something about it, we're fucking boring. We could do this. We could figure it out. And it was plainly told to me, you didn't die tonight on the mushrooms. You kill yourself under the bad vibrations of a world controlled by evil spirits, evil magicians, evil spirits of men. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. Never has Maria said it was anyone else. I'm not talking to the people who are with me, but the world doesn't get it. The story is over. It's been over. It's so over. It was over millions of years ago when Britain and America decided to use the very nuclear bombs that evil Hitler would not use because he had a conscience, because he was good. He would not mass murder innocent people and destroy the environment forever. He said it's better for all of us to die and go on the astral plane than to cause that much misery. We might as well be the sacrificial lamb because there's no end. That's not an end. That doesn't solve anything. Dropping nuclear weapons on innocent Japanese children and then laughing about it like they're doing in Gaza, like they're about to do to Iran, like they did to Iraq, like they did to Afghanistan, like they did to Panama, like they did them all over the world. All over the world. America's the evilest country in the history of mankind. The only country evil enough to mass murder the whole world on purpose. Like a spoiled brat that says, well, if I can't have it, then I'm killing everyone. A psycho. And that's why Hollywood correctly reflects, projects this image into all the worlds that we are horrific, insane, greedy, shallow, materialistic people who sit around watching these horrible movies. That's what a horror movie is. It's a horror. It's a reflection of a horrible soul, a horrible person that would harm children, that would put innocent people in cages, that endorses slavery, all of it. I mean, it's so ridiculous that these people are hidden in plain sight. They're right in front of your eyes. Ronald McDonald, mass murderer. And he always was. He was always giving bombs to other people, to kill other people. The whole time his first term, everyone kept saying, what about Yemen? What about Yemen? Why we're giving bombs to rich Saudi Arabia to drop on poor Yemen? Huh? Where's your sense of justice? Where's your scales? Where's your Libra? Where's your Leo, brah? Where's your Leo, brah? Leo, the Iranian lion, is Ra. Ra. AR. And I'm not in any way rejoicing that the country I live in is this fucking dumb. I mean, it's just come to that that they are this dumb that they think they're smarter than a straw man enemy, the Democrats, the trannies, the woke, the woke. That this straw man fake enemy that, of course, was built as the Frankenstein of the magicians. You don't have control unless you have control of both polarities. You can't do polarity magic in people's minds unless you control both poles. And then the electromagnetic energy can go back and forth from pole to pole in their brain, and a flow, a river of thoughts will stream through it will live stream through their matrix, filtered, synthetic computer chip mind back on Venus, or it's just a projection of someone's DNA, and they're not experiencing it at all. This is a literal program of what AI would say a person's going to do. And for real, a lot of the people around you are not really real. The only people who are really, really real are the people you made a spiritual connection with before you came here and made sure that they would be real to you. You don't know. I don't know who is really plugged in back home and who's only a projection of the actual technology. Should I say it one more time? We don't know, and that is why, let me say it, we don't know who is real. Just like when you wake up from a dream. There could have been thousands of people in your fucking dream. How can that be? Who's real? Who's not? This is more than a dream. This is 100 billion people dreaming at the same time. And unbelievable technology. Sewing it together on a invisible plane of existence in our real world. In our real world, for real, this world don't exist. That hologram that's projected in the sky is just that. It's just a hologram. It's just fucking light. It's just a light. There's no substance. Just like the fucking people around you. They're just a projected of light. There's no substance. That's why there's no substance. You're like, but they have a soul. No, it's just a projection of that light that's in your soul. That's how good the technology is. And there's only one way for you to verify it. And that's why I started in August of 2011. By like October 2011, say 12 rituals in, Maria was laughing and saying, Joe, but I didn't know she was Maria at this time. I just knew she was the Missouri River Goddess. And she was saying to me, and smiling and laughing and hiding behind her hair and saying, hey, listen, you can't, because every week she would say to me, think about it, ask me anything you want to know. And as quick as she would say to me, think, I couldn't think. The answer was simultaneous to her question. Like the first 4 times, like I said, I would say, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? But after the dream where she showed me, like, none of these people are real. You're in a simulation, a hologram, and the only people who are real and the only people you can trust are people you knew before you came here. From that dream on, every time I seen her, I'd say, who did I know before I came here? And like the first couple times, she would show me. She would say, look. And I would be in a memory. I would leave my body and be literally living like in a dream. And like I said, the first couple people, Jane, Deanna, I had clear dreams about them before I met them, right? So every week when I'd see her, I'd say, can you tell me? I would say, I'm sorry, but the only thing I can think of is, can you tell me one more person that I knew before I came here? All right, 13 years later, 14 years later, she said, Joe, you did that like 20 times. Even more over the years, like 4 or 5 years after that, she would jokingly say to me, ask me anything you want to know. And still, my mind would still be like, well, how about somebody I knew before I came here? And finally, after 14 years, and I guess this is a, encouragement to persevere, be determined and persevere, because 14 years later, she said to me, yeah, this was very much a test your true self forced you through. She said, Joe, she said it should be obvious to you. This was after 5/5. This was after May 5th Lucifer meeting. All the walls came down and things were said plainly. And she said to me, now do you know why I would be laughing so hard when all you would ask me is, what about somebody I knew before I came here? And she said, I was laughing because I clearly, no one needed to tell me, she said, I clearly seen your true self was, what did I keep saying to you? Saving the best for last. The best is yet to come. And she was like, I know what the real best is. And she was like, Joe, what is that real best? I said, to remember. And she was like, right. She was like, I still knew you were going to remember your sister, your favorite person, your favorite friend, your first friend, Sita. I was like, damn, it makes so much sense. She's like, remember I kept telling you I'm testing your unconscious? Yeah. I said, yeah, I remember, but do you remember me saying, that means I don't know what the hell you're doing? And she's like, yeah, right, just have fun. Let's just dance. She was like, right. That's how we began. Like she would say, I'm here to teach you, but first, let's dance. Let's create energy. You have to bring the energy up in the room. You have to create a little space and you have to rule in it. You have to, start to know, recognize, and respect yourself as an eternal being. Don't let anyone put you in any other place, category, personality, anything else. You're the reflection of an eternal being that was always like the thing that is the true mystery, the true invisible, indescribable, ... star, asterisk, and truly, I'm wasting your time to go on anymore. It's beyond us all, and your true self, your eternal spirit, somehow, some way, sometime is a reflection of that, along with the mystery of the sun in the sky that warms us and the mushroom that is outside of time and space in its own physicality. Its seeds are invisible and float through worlds. As my friend reappeared to me 20 years after that first experience, my best friend reappeared to me after he died, and he said to me, "Do you understand? That was me." We discussed everything that had to be done to overcome the matrix, and that's the main reason, focus, and goal was to go home, get out of here, and we decided whatever was necessary. And this is your Jesus story because we're all going on the cross. It's the true self that appears to forsake the avatar. Father, why have you forsaken me? Right? True self, why have you forsaken me? Why are you going to let me die? Because there is no death. And this was the only way to the true power and glory of authentic truth, authentically sticking to your inner code, your truth, your purpose. And this podcast is the expression of that plan to keep me alive long enough to do the ritual, which, for real, if I ever quoted Maria Orsic, let me quote it to you. She said, one day, I think she really said it this way, one day you're going to write a book and you're going to do a podcast because you're going to tell our people the truth that I am the mother, this is my ritual, this is the only way for you to change the eternal return simulation, the only way to break the circles, change your life, find what you're looking for, know yourself on the yellow brick road, and for real, go home, sit up on that technological bed on Venus and say, I am so happy to be home. Hail Venus.